the Midnight Mall, Stacy. The night had crept upon us, shrouding the unfamiliar country in darkness. My partner and I were on a romantic getaway in Malaysia, exploring a place we had never been before. It had been a day filled with wandering, immersing ourselves in the sights and sounds of this foreign land. But our journey was far from over, and our adventures continued well into the late hours of the evening. Time was slipping away, and we wanted to buy some things to remember our trip in this mysterious place. But by the time my wristwatch said it was past 10 p.m., we felt really disappointed. Most of the stores were already closed, but night was still young. We walked along the streets, which were barely lit, feeling a bit down. The town seemed like it had gone to bed, and it was as if we were the only ones still awake. We were like lost souls in a quiet world. Just when we were about to give up exploring and go back to our hotel, we saw a mall up ahead. It didn't look fancy, just an ordinary mall, but its bright lights seemed to say,
"Come inside. We're open."
That gave us hope, and we hurried toward it, feeling excited again. We pushed open the mall's glass doors, and they made a soft, eerie sound. Once inside, it felt like we had stepped back in time. The mall seemed old, like it was from a long time ago. The air was thick and still, and it smelled a bit musty. The stores were all lined up in rows, like they were guarding the place in silence. Dust covered their displays, and cobwebs hung in the corners. With each step, our footfalls echoed through the cavernous space, a stark contrast to the bustling malls we were used to. The only sounds were the low, mechanical hum of flickering lights and the occasional creak of our footsteps on the faded linoleum floors. It was as if the mall had been preserved in time, untouched for decades. Even though the mall was spooky, we couldn't help but feel curious about the shops that were still open. We were both excited and a little scared as we decided to check them out. First, we explored a charming old bookstore. Its shelves held ancient books with yellow, fragile pages. Then, we went to a clothing store. Inside, the mannequins wore clothes from a different time, and they seemed like they hadn't moved in years. As we walked around, we spotted a toy store that looked really inviting. The toys there reminded us of our own childhood, bringing back fond memories. We decided to buy a couple of toys as souvenirs to remember our unusual visit to the mall. With bags of purchases in hand, we decided to take a break and grab a bite to eat. The mall had a food court that, to our surprise, was still operational. We settled at one of the dimly lit tables, enjoying a meal that felt strangely out of place in this antiquated setting. As the clock inched closer to midnight, we decided it was time to call it a night. We summoned a cab to take us back to our hotel. The taxi arrived, and we loaded our bags into the trunk, feeling a sense of accomplishment and satisfaction despite the mall's eerie atmosphere. The cab driver was a middle-aged man with a kind smile, but his eyes held a glint of curiosity as they landed on our shopping bags.
"You've done some late-night shopping, I see,"
he remarked with a chuckle. We both nodded and laughed in agreement.
Yes, we were lucky to find that mall still open.
The cab ride started in comfortable silence, the rhythmic hum of the engine lulling us into a sense of security. The glow of streetlights and the occasional passing car were our only companions in the quiet night. As we approached our hotel, the driver spoke again, his voice now tinged with a strange seriousness.
"I couldn't help but notice something peculiar in your trunk."
Perplexed, I turned to look at him.
What do you mean?
I asked. His gaze met mine in the rearview mirror, and he spoke slowly, his tone laden with an unsettling gravity.
Why do you have bags of twigs in your trunk?
My partner and I exchanged uneasy glances, clearly taken aback by the driver's bizarre claim.
No, those are just clothes, shopping bags from the mall.
I couldn't help but think that this man was either playing a strange joke on us or was deeply mistaken about the mall's status. My partner leaned closer and whispered to me,
He must be crazy, or he's trying to mess with us. That mall was open. We were just there, remember?
I nodded in agreement, my skepticism momentarily easing the knot of fear that had tightened in my chest.
Yeah, this doesn't make any sense. He must be mistaken.
The driver continued to glance at us in the rearview mirror, his expression a mix of concern and determination.
I know it sounds unbelievable, but I need you to trust me. You have to see for yourselves.
My partner and I exchanged another glance, the cab now pulling up to our hotel. We paid the driver, thanked him, and retrieved our bags from the trunk. As we stood on the sidewalk, the cab driver approached us, his face somber.
Please,
He implored.
just take a look inside your bags. You need to know the truth.
Reluctantly, we agreed, opening one of the bags and revealing the twigs that now filled it. Our hearts sank, and the disbelief that had briefly washed over us was replaced by a growing dread. My partner stammered.
This can't be. We had clothes, toys, and other things. How is this possible?
The driver's eyes remained fixed on our bags, his voice low and filled with a chilling sincerity.
I told you, that mall is no place for living. It lures you in with the illusion of reality, and then it takes something from you, a part of your world, your memories, or even your soul.
The realization that our experience had been otherworldly and sinister dawned upon us like a nightmarish revelation. Our stomach lurched with disgust, and that night we kept vomiting out whatever we had consumed. We spent the remainder of that sleepless night, unable to shake the sense of foreboding that had settled over us. What had we truly encountered in that abandoned mall? What did we eat? And would the eerie presence of those twigs haunt our dreams, a reminder of the inexplicable, otherworldly experience we could never forget? If you found any enjoyment in the video, I implore you to click that like button and subscribe if you dare.